And
let it rain, who cares? For the sun upstairs in my mind, in my mind, in my mind. With a rhythm and a beat and a melodies for me. That I won't, no I won't let the rain go away until it listens, swishes, flashes, drips, drops, stop. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let it rain, for the sun upstairs in my mind, in my mind, in my mind.
Waynewood Elementary School has approximately 600 students. We are invested in having each child reach their full potential academically, emotionally, and socially. We certainly buy into the philosophy that the school board has set that every child should have a gifted and talented education. And by that, we try at Waynewood to extend learning opportunities for youngsters so that they can go above and beyond. Success by 8 is being utilized here because it was the natural link in to what we were already doing in our primary classrooms. We had multi-age primary classrooms, and we felt that to link into the enriched, extended, raising the ceiling kinds of opportunities that Success by 8 would offer. Success by 8 is sort of a unique program. It allows students to move more or less at their own rate of speed, and it also allows for a wide learning continuum so that children who are just beginning receive a lot of support. Children who are ready to have enrichment experiences, they get an opportunity to be challenged, and children who are right in the middle get an opportunity for appropriate instruction. Success by 8 leans heavily on assessment and the teacher's ability to assess what a child knows and then diagnose and prescribe learning experiences that are appropriate to those small groups. It also relies a lot on child independence. The teacher breaks the room into small groups, meets with the children in direct reading instructional groupings, and when she's not meeting with those instructional groupings, hopefully specialist teachers are in meeting with small groups. We use parents to meet with small groups. But then the children are rotating around learning stations where they are extending or following up what they had learned for that day. Success by 8 relies heavily on a very active curriculum so that children are not just seated in their desk and working in their workbooks. And sometimes they are. Sometimes they are writing, sometimes they are participating in doing research, but a lot of times you're going to see that what they have learned with a buddy or with a group, they are actually carrying it out in a real life experience. You're going to see a lot of different extensions, and you're also going to see that learning is very integrated. You're going to be doing a lot of reading in the content area so that your science and social studies is integrated, and that what you're reading and what you're writing and what you're learning about is woven into one fabric so that there's a lot of real life application. children are motivated, they're excited, they love to come to school because they can't wait for the next group experience. And they also get a lot of individualized attention at their own level of learning.
As it is in Florida. Okay, sound right? No, it doesn't sound right. Florida is warm. If we took off that A and it read, it will be warm but not as warm as it is in Florida, then that would sound right. Okay? Let's go with desert and volcano. I didn't pick both of them. What do you think?
I think the morning message is a wonderful way for the teacher to introduce new vocabulary, to model decoding skills, to help youngsters understand whether they're K's or whether they're 2's, that there's a sound symbol correspondence. For some children, they're just being introduced to it. For kinders, they're just being introduced to it. For second graders, they're appreciating and understanding the sophistication of the message. For everyone, it sets the stage and sort of sets the tone for here's what we're about, this is what we're doing, or this is what we have done.
A desert is very hot and dry. A cactus can live in a desert. Let's have a super day. Love, Miss Traeger.
You guys did real well. It all makes sense. All sounds right. And you didn't even need any picture cues.
What I want you to do as we're reading it is try and connect the information that's in the book. The information that's in the book. And it's a fiction story. It's not nonfiction like some of the others we've read. It's a fiction story, but what do we know about fiction stories sometimes?
Sometimes we can still get information.
Absolutely right. Sometimes we can still get information. This is a fiction story, but it's full of information. And as you listen to the story and look at the pictures, try and make connections to things that you already know about seeds and things we've learned before.
The shared reading, again, is an opportunity to develop vocabulary, to build background knowledge. For some students, it's the very first time they've ever been introduced to some of these words or some of these concepts. If you're at the kindergarten level, that might be where your readiness stage is. But for others, again, they're ready to listen and understand or comprehend it at a much more sophisticated level.
It's a giant flower. And it came from what?
A
Tiny seed.
And also this book tied into the science curriculum and all of the activities that were the spin-off activities for this content area.
You push those down about an inch into the soil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me, on the picture, what do you see? Okay, you see hats. Okay, where does it look like the hats might be?
Guided reading is the opportunity for teachers to meet with their reading groups after they assess their students and decide what skills or what activities they need. They group the children together, and these groups change very often based on these assessments, but they group the children together for the purpose of reading literature, either straight literature or nonfiction, information together. And that's just what you and I would call a reading group.
Where are the sun hats?
And what's the name of the book you're going to read today?
The Fox Who Foxed.
Okay, go ahead.
The Fox Who Foxed.
The portfolio documents what a child has learned in the past 9 weeks. We send our portfolios home to parents. Generally speaking, we'll send home a tape with the child's reading aloud so you can tell about oral fluency, how that's progressed since the last 9 weeks. Usually there are some comprehension questions which the adult asks the child so you can see about comprehension, how that's coming along. Some information in terms of shared writing.
Let's discuss him for a few minutes. Does Sho remain an outsider throughout this story?
We really value our parent volunteers, and it is wonderful to be able to have upper grade children have small literature sharing groups. And one great way to give children more time with an adult is to have literature discussion groups such as the junior grade book discussion groups. And that way the teacher can work with 10 or 12 youngsters and really have an in-depth discussion and really develop the nuances of that story. And the parent can work with the junior grade books group and do the same thing. So it's a strategy to give youngsters more individualized attention. It's an opportunity for youngsters to share their thinking more and to participate more.
Shows started to say, I made you do that. Like when Monk and Glennie were doing something and if they messed up.
To the right of the steering wheel, something real big was sticking out. Dad had taken one of our giant towels and set it over the thing. Everybody stood there staring. Finally, Mama said, Daniel, what on earth is that towel doing in there? The towel is fine, Winona. Aren't you wondering what's underneath it?
I'm very proud of the parental support that we have in the school. We have a number of parents who come on a weekly basis and read aloud to classrooms. We feel that this is critical. These parents instill in the youngsters a love for reading. They usually read in a very dramatic way, and then they enjoy the conversations that follow.
You think maybe he's proud of this? You think maybe he likes this better than the car itself? Yeah, so do I.
One additional way that we put adults in the classroom is through a partnership with George Mason University and our PDS interns. PDS is Professional Development School. One of the interns was teaching, actually in the independent teaching phase.
Yeah, because it looks stale like old milk. Okay. What number 8 then? The heat test is a good test for which powder?
The heat test. I put down number 5 because it turned and it looked like maple syrup.
Turn brown? Look like maple syrup?
At the 2-3 level, there are opportunities to integrate the science units of studies, such as the mystery powders unit, so that the multi-age students can work together on teams and they can enjoy doing those in-depth topics. We try to integrate those topics again into whatever theme or whatever we're working on. The children in the K1 and 2 were researching. Some of them had completed very simple first projects, and yet others had really done research note cards, had searched the internet, had really put together very sophisticated, complicated science projects.
You just heard the name clownfish, and you thought that would be an interesting fish to study? Did you learn a lot about the clownfish? I think you did too, Chris. I'm glad you chose the clownfish.
The younger children could learn from the older children because the older children served as role models. The older children could enjoy and appreciate the new topics or the new information that some of the younger children had shared. If it wasn't their area of expertise, they maybe didn't dig in depth into that area. So any little nuggets or any little facts would be entertaining, particularly since it pertained to the subject that the entire group was researching.
Same place if there is enough food. Koalas spend most of their lives in the eucalyptus trees.
Space. Okay. Space.
What would you like to know about space, Harris?
How many stars there are?
Stars.
SAM is the school-wide achievement model, and what it is an extension of the regular curriculum. It takes the children into what we call Type 2 projects, which are more in-depth projects and more extended learning opportunities. In this classroom, the teacher had divided the class up into two groups. Half would go upstairs and work with Mrs. Reese in the computer lab. The other half would stay with her. And on this particular day, they were just deciding what topic they wanted to study and what they would find exciting and interesting to do.
Okay. That could be good too because you have little tiny rowboats and great big yachts. Okay.
What lives in the ocean?
Ocean life. Okay. We could definitely look at the ocean.
It's driven by the children's interest and what they really feel they want to research and what they want to take to the next highest level. It incorporates reading, it incorporates research.
All right, now, click right there. All right, now there's a search box. Do you see this box right here? It doesn't have anything in it?
Yeah.
That's where you want to type the word Arctic. Because we want to find out everything we can about the Arctic.
And generally speaking, it incorporates some sort of product so that you can see that they have put the pieces together and that they have understood the reading and the research that they have done. So it might be a play, it might be a mural, it might be a film strip, it might be a computer slideshow, it might be a simple question and answer dialogue between two kids, but you'll generally see some sort of an end product as a result of the groups researching and studying. There can be speakers that come in to give background information. There can be trips to the library. There can be children going home and asking their parents to come in if they know that their parents are experts in these areas. But again, it's going above and beyond just the regular base learning. We feel like it's important for children to have a personal connection with the adults in their lives. And we try to offer opportunities and a variety of opportunities for kids to want to learn. And one way that we've done this is we've offered a homework club or a math club so that students who love math can stay after and do some special kinds of activities. Sometimes we've done these activities within the day, but in this particular class, you're seeing that the children are staying after school because they really want to have more time to talk in depth with the teacher about the topic that they've selected. In a way, it's sort of like a SAM or school-wide achievement activity, but it's just particular children who are interested in mathematics. Two of the children are on the computer and they're actually practicing the SOL test. This was a really interesting strategy. The teachers made up practice SOL tests. They made up their own questions. They developed the format. They put it on the computer, and this allows the children to practice so that they're not nervous when it's actually time for them to take the SOL test. The standards of learning tests can be intimidating to youngsters who really know the material but maybe are a little test anxious. So by putting it on the computer, we have developed sort of an interactive format so that when the time comes, they're not intimidated by the standards of learning testing. The Dance for Success was an opportunity for the entire community and all of the staff members to celebrate together and to raise money for Success Maker, which is an intelligent tutoring program We do not have a networked lab at our school. We had some independent stations, but we wanted to have a networked lab. So in order to raise money for this venture, everyone came together. We had a silent auction. We had each staff member decided what experience that they could auction. For me, I had principal of the day. Mrs. Lamb had yo-yo tricks. Different adults in the community, artists or consultants. There were all manner of items that could be auctioned. At the same time, each classroom had generated a theme and filled a basket full with a collection of Beanie Babies, a collection of keychains, a chocolate basket. And if you were interested in those baskets, you could buy a chance on those baskets. So we had that going on. And then, of course, you had the dance going on where people were enjoying the family dance. There was a DJ. He was running activities. And so it was a celebration. We were having a good time being together, but we were also raising money for our school.
Good morning. We would like to wish the following people a happy birthday. Thomas Matthews from Mrs. Ablott and Jay's class. Jessica Spring from Mrs. Contreras' class.
Boys and girls, today's a very special day, and it's my privilege to introduce to you your principal for the day, Mr. Austin Weiler.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I like to play a lot of sports like gymnastics, and I like to catch animals.
Principal of the Day is a wonderful opportunity for students to be involved in understanding the role of the principal. He started the morning off with a news broadcast to the entire school on the Daily Owl. Each week, a different class staffs the Daily Owl. This particular week, the 6th grade class was in charge. The host interviewed him and asked him 4 or 5 questions. Then he got the opportunity to come downstairs, walk around the building. I told him that we had 2 main jobs: to make sure that boys and girls could learn and make sure that it was a safe and productive learning environment. So we would walk around. Then he went in and read to the kindergarten classroom, which is something I like to do. So he went in and shared a book that he had prepared and selected and read to one of the kindergarten classrooms.
When we watch TV, he calls himself Master Controller. He has a controller in his.
Anyone who keys into our Waynewood homepage will read about Austin Weiler being principal of the day. This year, by coming on board and being a Success by 8 pilot school, we felt like the main thing we added was the staff development component. The staff development component is very important because unless you have ongoing staff development, you don't look critically at your professional delivery, and you don't go through the motions of eliminating those strategies that aren't as effective and maximizing or adding the ones that are the most effective. We only have a limited amount of time, and so we have to make sure that we are teaching children at their level, not at the middle level, or not at a level that is either too high or too low for them, but at their level, and that we are helping them to move ahead as quickly as we can. Our overall goal at Waynewood is that we teach children to read. We feel so very committed to that goal, We spend a lot of time making sure that children in K through 2 learn to read. That's our primary objective, that's our primary goal. We want, by the time children are in 3rd grade, that they are able to read and that they have that opportunity in 3rd grade to be prepared to take the standards of learning test, and that they can do well on it, and that they're confident that they can do well on it because they're confident in their abilities to read. And then when they get in 4th through 6th grade, because they've learned to read, then they're ready to read to learn. And we value reading as the overall skill at our school. The community's so supportive. The teachers are so compatible in terms of our philosophy about what makes this a good school, what makes this an exciting school. It's not just a job. We enjoy being here. You'll see people here on Saturday. You'll see people here volunteer to be here after school. It's just fun to be here, and it's exciting to see children get engaged in their learning.